Please welcome, from Georgia, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Thank you. Well, welcome back to Maryland, CPAC. We are so excited to be here, and this is such an important time for conservatives to come together. And I'll tell you why. The left has told us something that should put fear in the heart of every parent, and not just parents, every single person. They've said they're coming for our children. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to kids, I think the Republican Party has a duty. We have a responsibility, and that is to be the party that protects children. Now, whether it's like Zelensky saying he wants our sons and daughters to go die in Ukraine, whether it's the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir literally singing, "We're coming for your children," or it's a new, disturbing ideology that tells the most incredible lie that children can actually change their gender before they've even grown up, before they've even finished puberty, before they've developed into an adult, before they're old enough to vote, before they're old enough to graduate from high school, before they're old enough to even get a tattoo, put ink permanently on their skin, before they're old enough to buy nicotine, before they're old enough to buy alcohol, before they even graduate from high school, many of them before they drive a car. Now, when I ran for Congress, I thought I was running for Congress to rein in the out-of-control spending in Washington, to defend our southern border, to fight against the radical left and their ideas of bigger government, more control, to stop funding foreign wars that never do anything for America but send our soldiers back home either in coffins or with PTSD. I thought I was fighting for conservative values to support businesses and give our kids a future. But on day one, when I was sworn into Congress and we voted on the rules package, and that was last Congress, our speaker was Nancy Pelosi. And to my shock, we had a new rule in our rules package, and that was there was no more gender. You couldn't say family names, mother, father, sister, brother. You couldn't acknowledge he, she, him, her, because gender was no longer in existence. We had a big fight on the Equality Act where I ended up putting a sign outside my office door that said there's only two genders, male and female, trust the science. But who knew this would become an even bigger battle? But then I started to learn about an industry that is turning into a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they have a target, or should I say a victim. You see, their target is not adults that, adults can choose what they want to do. This isn't about adults. We're talking about people under the age of 18. Their target for their multi-billion-dollar industry are children. And everyone knows that when you're growing up, think about it. How many times did you say when you're a kid you wanted to be a fireman or a doctor or a police officer, or you wanted to be something when you're an adult, but when you grew up, you became something else? My favorite thing to say that I did become when I was growing up is I wanted to be a mom. And thankfully, I am a mom. But the victims of this industry are kids. And these are kids who are confused about who they are. And they're confused about who they are because of what they're seeing on the internet, what they're seeing on social media. And they're also confused, many of them, because these victims of this billion-dollar industry that mutilates the genitals of children, many of these victims have diagnoses of autism, mental illness, they have depression, they have anxiety, they have psychosis. Many of them live in foster care, so they already have lived lives of abuse. And these victims come in thinking they're going to find happiness and they're going to find security in their identity because they think they can change their gender. These boys think they can become girls. These girls think they can become boys. But you want to know what's happening to them? They're given puberty blockers. They're fast-tracked, given puberty blockers that actually chemically castrates them, makes them sterile. They're given testosterone to girls as young as 11, 12, 13 years old, that within 4 to 5 years, some of them are having to have hysterectomies because of the damage it does inside of them. There are teenage girls having their breast cut off. That is a permanent damage to their body. They'll never be able to breastfeed their baby. And there are boys that are having their penises turned inside out. These are kids. So last Congress, I did something radical and extreme because remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's so extreme. I introduced a bill called the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Protect Children's Innocence Act. And let me tell you my great news this morning, ladies and gentlemen. It couldn't pass last Congress because, like I said, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, and she doesn't believe in gender at all. But we have a new Speaker in our Republican majority in the House of Representatives. And I'm going to be introducing my bill, the Protect Children's Innocence Act, that will make it a felony to perform anything to do with gender-affirming care on children. Yes. Right. And obviously, you all agree with me. But it's not just conservative Republicans that agree with this. This isn't a right-wing extremist idea, everyone, that we should protect children from making a horrible mistake, because many of these kids do realize it's a mistake and they hate what they've done to themselves. And then they're left with lifelong disabilities by the people that are making billions of dollars mutilating their genitals. So let's think about it like this. This is actually an idea for all Americans. It's not just a Republican idea, because people like Bill Maher agree with me on this issue, even though he attacks me. There's independents, Democrats, Republicans all over America that agree that we need to let kids be kids. And while I'm still committed to saying no money to Ukraine, and that country needs to find peace, not war, and while I will look at a camera and directly tell Zelensky, you better leave your hands off of our sons and daughters because they're not dying over there. I will also inform the lion that looks to devour, and that lion is looking to devour our children, that our God is bigger. And our God is the God that created us, man and woman. In his image, he created us. And our God is the God that created our children. And because of him, we will get this bill passed, and the Republican Party will be the party that protects children from such an evil that I cannot believe it exists in this time. Thank you so much, everyone. Listen, call to action. Call to action. I'm introducing my bill next week. Call every single member of Congress and tell them to get on the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Thank you so much to Matt Schlapp and CPAC for endorsing my bill. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.